Did you know that there are admin-only items in Minecraft that you can only get through commands? They're not even available on the creative menu. Some of these blocks are from the old days of Minecraft, and some are how Minecraft actually builds the world itself. Well, give me just a few minutes of your time here, and I will go over all of them. Alright, so the first one that I want to go over is command blocks. I'm going to go ahead and do a give command. And I'm just going to do @A because there's nobody else on with me. And I'm going to do Minecraft : command _ block. Now, you don't have to do the Minecraft : most of the time. From the old days, I'm kind of used to it. You'll see me go back and forth. So this will get you a command block. Since I already have one on my inventory and one in there. With this command block, you can do a plethora of things. This is basically limitless. I can't even tell you how much you can do with this. It's so cool. But I'm going to show you a few things, just to show you how useful they are. So right away, I'm going to go in, and I'm going to start off with what is called an execute command. Execute commands let you do a lot of things. In this case, it's going to allow me to do a command at a different location, and it's going to check and see if a player is near that location before it runs the command. So I'm going to do execute as @A. Now, normally this means all players, but in this situation in the code, it actually really means any player. And we're going to go ahead and do X equals, and the coordinates are, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and do over here by this tree. And on Java Edition, just hit F3 to get your coordinates here. If you're on Bedrock, just go into your game settings and turn on the coordinates. And then I'm also going to come over here and get another set of coordinates real quick. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that when a player gets near this tree, I'm going to summon down lightning on top of this almost finished iron golem. Alright, so as I was saying, I had to get those coordinates, so I'm going to do X equals -172, and Y equals 0, Z, if I know my letters, Z equals, I think it was 49, and then from the tree, I'm going to do a distance of, I want anything within 4 blocks. So with the newer versions of Minecraft, I'm going to have to do ... 4. Now this means up to 4 blocks. And now I'm going to run another command where I'm going to summon a lightning bolt at the top of the iron golem, which I had was -161, 2, and 42. Alright, so that should be it. I'm going to put this on repeat, which means that it's not only going to run once, it's going to run infinitely. And I'm going to put it on always active. So essentially, when I go near this tree, it should summon down infinite lightning on top of the iron over there. That's pretty cool. Now, obviously, the chat popping up like that is annoying, so you can actually turn that off. Do game rule, commands, block output, false. If you are on Java Edition, make sure that the B and the O are capitalized like that. On Bedrock, it doesn't matter, but go ahead and put that in. Now when I do that again, you don't get all the command outputs popping up on your chat box. You can also combine command blocks with redstone. So let me go and get a random block. What do I want? I want a lime green piece of concrete, and I want a button. Let's see, there we go. I want a big red button. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to hook a button right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put my command block right here on the back side of it. Now this one here, I'm going to run as a, I'm going to do a give command, like I did to get the command block, but I'm going to give myself an item that you're going to see later on. This is actually going to be a special TNT that we're going to go over. If you played Minecraft in the old days, you will have probably seen one of these. If you're newer to Minecraft, only joined it in the last few years, then you probably haven't. But this is a hidden type of TNT right here inside of Minecraft. So what you'll see I'm doing here is I'm giving the closest player, which is me, a TNT. But there's a specific block state tag that says it's unstable. And I'm getting one of these. So when I run that, it should give me that. Now, this TNT is going to be impulse and needs redstone. Now, I'm going to hook another one right onto the back side of it here. And I'm going to make this one chain, and it's always active. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add an effect. I'm going to do effect give. I'm going to do the closest player, and I'm going to do, let's do speed. And for 10,000 seconds at level 3. So now when I press this button, not only should I get another one of these special TNTs, but I should also get a status effect. Alright, so now I have 2 of those on my hotbar, and woo! Me is fast! Yay! Super fast! So another function that command blocks have is they have the option of coming in a minecart. So again, just give at A. And we're going to do command underscore block, and you'll see it right there, minecart. And that'll give you one. Now, you can use an activator rail piece to turn the command on within the command block. Alright, so in this one here, I am going to run a fill command, which is going to basically destroy several blocks around this command block, replacing it with air. And when I use the destroy tag here, it should actually drop any ore or anything else that should drop when the blocks would be destroyed in survival. This area might be too big. I've had a couple issues with this already, but let's see. Let's go! Bye! Oop, my game's lagging. 2,000 years later. Finally unfroze here, and as you can see, it dropped every single block in that area. We're looking at diamonds, you're looking at gold, redstone, all the experience you could ever want. This is, it's truly a cheat, honestly. You can use it as a clock system, so that it runs on a circular rail that you can time. And then when it runs over that activator part, it will actually turn the command on just for that moment. It's a lot easier to create long loops doing that than it is with actual redstone. Alright, so I have not picked up everything, and I've got 41 diamonds. I've gained like 18 levels in survival mode, because this is a brand new world for me. I just started it for this video, so that is a huge amount of experience, and there's still a ton all over the place. The next group of blocks that I want to show you are what I just kind of refer to as the structure generation blocks. In my inventory, they are your structure block, your jigsaw block, and your structure void. You get these just by using the give command. You see here, I've got the structure block, I've got the structure void. Make sure that you're using the underscore between them. And then the jigsaw is right here, Minecraft jigsaw. So these are really useful, especially if you're into building any kind of like data packs or adventure maps or anything like that. So let's say that I built this house, and I want to recreate this house at other locations. So structure blocks work differently in Bedrock and in Java Edition. I'm in Java currently, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run what I call corner mode. I'm actually going to break this block here, and I'm going to put this one structure block here. This is going to be this far bottom corner over here. I'm going to switch this over to corner mode, and I'm going to call this house 1. Now I'm going to come to the opposite corner. So just like the block I put down at this corner, the one I have on the opposite corner up here, I'm going to put this into corner mode. And I'm going to call this house 1. Now right down here, I'm going to come over here to save mode, and I'm going to try to detect structure. House 1, and hit detect. So it says it successfully detected Minecraft house 1. So if I go inside, it looks like it's going to be relative positioned to this block is -3, 2. And it's a 7 by 7 by 7 square. Okay, so if I save this, alright, so I saved that house as house 1, so I should be able to come right down here, and I'm in load mode, and I should be able to do house 1, include entities on, and I'm going to load. And there we go. Just like that, I have loaded the structure from up here, that house. And I can load this anywhere I want to. And because I used the corner mode, It picked right here where I had the first block all the way up to the block that I had matched up to the height, one above it and one to the other side, so that it grabbed every single block in between. So it was a perfect cut for our structure. Now, I did this perfectly to cut the ground out, but if you are unable to avoid getting all of the blocks out, you can also use the structure void. Now, what the structure void block would do is I could come over here and be like, I don't want this one, and I don't want this one, I don't want this one, and every block that I marked with the structure void will not be saved in the structure build. So that if I were to save this again and rebuild it, it would be missing this block and these blocks here, because I marked them with a structure void block. It shows the structure where you want an empty space. Now, the jigsaw blocks are probably the most complicated block in all of Minecraft. These are actually blocks that the game uses itself when it's actually generating villages and other items. I will do my best to show you here for an example what I am talking about. Alright, so I have just put a block here. If I open it up, go inside the jigsaw, you're going to see that I've got a target pool, name, target name, and then turns into. So at first you're going to look at these and you're going to be like, what the heck am I looking at? What you need to know is that the target pools are actually something that Minecraft has in its data files. So I'm going to take us on a little trip here, and we're going to head off to the app data folder. I'm going to go into our Minecraft folders here. We're going to come down to where it says versions, and then we're going to open up the version that we're running. Right now, I'm running a 1.18 fabric version, just because the graphics tend to run a lot smoother than with the Forge versions that I've tried lately. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and open up the jar file that's here, and it's going to have these folders. I'm going to go to data, I'm going to go to Minecraft, and I'm going to come down to structures. These are actually where Minecraft will pull all the data for the jigsaws. You can use custom files and stuff like that if you're going to create a data pack, but otherwise this is where everything is. So, bastions, end city, fossils, igloos, nether fossils, pillager outposts, ruin portals, shipwrecks, underwater ruins, villages, woodland mansions. These are all procedurally generated using jigsaws because a jigsaw works as a connection piece. As you see in the game, I put it right here off of this pathway. This is how Minecraft would actually spawn the pathway in. It would spawn it in with several of these jigsaws. Now, the jigsaw has an option. It can either spawn just regular plains biome, it can spawn more pathway, it can spawn a house. That's why you get some pathways that seem to go nowhere. You get lampposts on a path to nowhere. But every village starts off at its well. The well is always the beginning point of every village, and it procedurally generates off of that using jigsaws. They're like random add-ons, and they have certain connection types that certain other pieces can stick to. So I'm going to show you what it would be to generate a house here, for example. So for the target pool, using those file locations, I know that I'm looking for village. Now my village is in the plains, and I'm looking for houses. So I'm going to narrow it down to what I just said. It's going to be village, plains, houses. That's the order of the folders to get to those. I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to go get rid of this empty here, and I'm going to type in village, plains, houses. Alright, so for the name, I'm going to type in building entrance. This is the connection point that will connect onto a pathway for a plains village. Target name, I'm going to do the same thing. Building, entrance, and then the turns into down here, I'm going to go ahead and do the structure void. Now, the level slider that you see here it varies NBT data. Typically, as I would turn this up, it makes things more complicated. So let's say if I turn this on a level 3, it should be about a mid-range complicated house. So if I go ahead and generate this, well, it's not a house. It decided to do the entrance to a farm instead. Let's try it again, right next door. I'm going to go ahead and put one here, connecting off to the pathway. I'm going to do the same thing. Alright, so this is a level 7 for the building entrance generation, which is just, it's a little house. Go inside, you got Oh, you got a stone cutting wheel in here. Okay, it's not even a house. It's like a workshop. So again, these blocks are really useful for people that are doing more creative endeavors to more on a larger scale, and they need these tools to help them develop the world. You can do also entities and items inside of the structure blocks when you save those, so you can have items raining above you, or you can spawn in enemies grouped up together. Alright, so the next blocks I want to show you are barrier blocks and lights. Hey, guess what? I'm not flying. I'm actually jumping. What I'm standing on, these are barrier blocks. They're invisible unless you're actively holding barrier blocks, but these are unbreakable in survival mode, just like Bedrock, but they're completely invisible. These are incredibly useful if you want to do invisible bridges, if you need to put up walls that are keeping people out of certain areas, anything like that. Now, next to the bridges, what you see is light bulbs. These are actually what are called light blocks. Again, these ones are just like the barrier blocks. They're invisible unless you're actively holding them, and then you can see them. What's really cool about this, switch this to midnight, is they do a really good job of lighting things up. See how the pathways of this town are all lit up? And you don't see the source of them. They won't block you. They don't get in your way. Unless, of course, you're holding the light and then they're visible. You can control how bright they are by right-clicking on them. You can break them in creative mode by left-clicking on them. It does take a second before they disappear. So if you're ever working on a build and you don't want it to be dark, but you also don't have the space to afford yourself any kind of light blocks, so you don't want to ruin the look, go ahead and throw some of these in. You can do give at P lights to get the light blocks, and you can do give at P barrier in order to get the barrier blocks. Alright, the next couple of items are from old school Minecraft. One of them I already showed you how to get. Let's go over that again. I'm going to use the give commands at P, and that's going to be TNT, and then you're going to use the, I call it the round bracket, block state tag, colon, another round bracket, unstable, colon, true. This is an unstable TNT. So with regular TNT in Minecraft, you can only ignite TNT with like a flint and stone or a redstone, something like that. Back in the old days, TNT was a lot more dangerous, which is actually why they changed it. Alright, so switch over to survival. This right here is regular TNT. I broke it. It's mine. This right here is an unstable TNT. I punched it, and it's detonating. They eventually fixed it because these TNT were literally blowing up in people's faces. One accidental punch, and bam, everything was gone right in your face. The other old school item is going to be petrified oak. Alright, so these look just like regular oak slabs. They can be stacked on top of each other to form a block. Alright, I gave myself an oak slab. If I put the regular oak slab down, I cannot stack the petrified slab on top of it. Same the other way around. So you can create some cool patterns with this, but that's not even the cool part about petrified oak slabs. So I'm going to put one petrified slab here and one regular oak slab. They look identical. If I take out a flint and steel, I can catch the oak slab on fire, but I cannot catch the petrified oak slab on fire. The reason why is this is actually a stone slab that has been reskinned to look like oak, to represent what happens when things get petrified. They get replaced with calcium, essentially making them stone. Alright, so I'm going to spend the next minute going over some Java exclusive things that are command only. But if you're playing Bedrock, don't run off, because after this, I've got some special stuff just for you. Alright, so there are a couple mobs that you can spawn in Java Edition that are not available on Bedrock. So I'm going to go ahead and summon, and I'm going to summon in a giant. It'd be helpful if it wasn't done peaceful mode. Alright, there we go. So this is a giant. Giants are, as you can tell, command-only massive zombie mobs. But as you can see in the sunlight, it's not taking any damage. These are not considered undead. They do not burn in the sun. They do not turn into drowned like zombies when they enter water. They're not healed by potions of harming, and they're also not harmed by potions of healing. These are actually pretty powerful. They spawn in with 100 health points. That's about 50 hearts. And they can deal between 26 and 75 damage depending on your difficulty setting. They have virtually no AI, so they always spawn in facing south, and they'll just stand there unless I'm near them in survival mode, or they get attacked. They will respond if they get attacked. but these are also rideable. And if you're using summon commands with extra NBT data, you will be able to spawn other mobs on top of this to ride, like skeletons with arrows to shoot you and fill you full of holes. The other mob that you can summon in is the Illusioner. Now, the Illusioner is a command-only Illager, and in my opinion, it is the strongest of the Illager mobs. This guy has 32 health points, that's 16 hearts, and he shoots a bow. The bow can deal between 2 to 5 damage, depending on what difficulty you're on, but this is not his main power. He also has magic. Immediately when you get into battle, he'll hit you with a spell that blinds you for 20 seconds. Typically, he'll just do this once, but if there's other people fighting it, it will do it more than once. It also has another spell where it turns invisible and then summons in duplicates. So hey buddy. No, don't shoot me. And what you'll see right away is this thing actually shoots faster than skeletons. It shoots once every second. Much more dangerous than skeletons. It does a really good job of keeping away from you. It'll back up as you run towards it. It'll also advance as you run away. As you see, it turned invisible and there are 4 of them. They're not actually shooting anything. Only the original one will shoot. They take no damage. They do no damage. But they will move and mimic the movements of the actual Illusioner. Hey everybody, welcome to Bedrock, where I've got a couple things that are exclusive for the Bedrock users. Make sure that you have the Education Edition turned on because these are education exclusives. Alright, so what we're going after today is actually the Deny block, the Allow block, and the Border block. Now these are actually super useful if you plan on having anything going on with multiple players. They were designed for teachers to use in Education Edition. So the Deny block would be used like, hey, I'm going to go and put this Deny block down here. Now what this means is that in the area around this Deny block, above it, the people would not be able to break or place blocks. Essentially, it would put them in kind of like an adventure mode capacity where they're not able to screw with your world. The Allow block does the opposite. It'll specifically say, hey, this area here, it's okay for them to do that in. This is an area where I want them to. So you can build up specific sections of your map where you want them to be able to use those permissions, where you don't, without having to go in and adjust everybody's settings manually. Now, the Border block is one of my favorite blocks. These create an impenetrable fence. The only way to get through them is by teleporting or using like end pearls or anything like that where you're basically cheating to getting around it. But this fenced in area is fully protected. If something was on the inside, players wouldn't be able to do anything. You can't go down underneath unless you are the operator or the administrator or anything like that. If I was a regular player, I wouldn't be able to go underneath it. I wouldn't be able to go above it. Anything on the inside would be blocked off infinitely, all the way up to the top and all the way down to the bottom of the build areas. You can do this to have sections of your maps completely closed off. So if you're running servers, or like realms on Bedrock, you could do this for your command blocks, anything like that. Those functional areas that you really want just the OPs or the administrators involved with, these are perfect to cordon off. Alright, so now that I'm in Bedrock, I'm going to show you how to use the structure block here. I mentioned that they work differently. I'll go ahead and put one down here. And right away you're going to notice a visible square that's going to protrude out of it. The menu is different, everything about it is different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it bigger. I know that I want this to go up probably to at least 15. And I'm going to take this out to probably 15 as well. And then here I'm going to go 30. That's not quite far enough that way. Let's see if I can take this out to 60. A little too far. Alright, 50 looks pretty good. And this is called I'm going to call this Lab. Lab 1. And let me go ahead and make sure that everything is good now. The box looks like it's safely around everything. I'm not cutting anything off. That was a good guess on the height. That's perfect. Alright. So now I'm going to save this. Now on the side you have the option save in memory and save to disk. The best I can understand these, saving in memory saves it for this world. If you save it to disk, that allows you to load it on other worlds. All right, so I'm going to come right over here. I'm going to throw this down. And I'm going to switch this over to load mode. And I'm going to look for lab 1. And as you'll see, it's going to pop up the dimensions here. This is because it's showing me, hey, we're going to build this right here. So, entities should be included. Take off the bounding box. Alright, and I have just summoned in that lab directly next to it. This is useful for really big builds where you have to do a lot of repetitious things. If you're working on cities, you can save buildings and then put them in different locations where you're not going to notice that you're repeating the same building design. Actually, my son uses it to carry a house with him everywhere he goes, and he keeps his items in an ender chest so that he has access to the items no matter what. If you want to see the true possibility of some of these admin-only items, check out one of these videos here. Both of these show awesome builds using things like barrier blocks, commands, all the exclusive stuff that only the cool people know how to use. Alright, I'll catch you next time.